I want to show you something I noticed at the grocery store last week. I picked up a container of Breyers ice cream, a brand my family has bought for literally 30 years, and I almost put it back because I thought someone had already opened it. The container felt half empty. It wasn't. That's just how much they've shrunk it. And what got me was the price tag. It was higher than it was 2 years ago. I paid more, for less, and the package looked almost identical to the one I remembered. That's what we're talking about today. 12 grocery brands that are quietly doing this right now. Not by raising the price dramatically, that would be obvious, but by shrinking the package, thinning the product, or changing the formula just enough that you get noticeably less for the same dollar. Most people won't notice until it's too late. Most people will just think food is getting more expensive and shrug. But if you know which brands are doing this, you can protect your grocery budget in a way that actually adds up. And I want you to stay with me through this list because number 7 genuinely shocked me. It's something people buy every single week, and I think when you hear what they've done, you're going to feel the same way I did. If you're new here, subscribe right now. We cover this kind of thing every week. Real consumer trends, real pricing patterns, things you need to know before they affect your wallet. Hit that subscribe button and let's get into this. Item number 1, Breyers ice cream. Let me start with the one I already mentioned because it deserves a full breakdown. Breyers used to sell ice cream in a 1.75 quart container. That's almost a half gallon. Then they quietly moved to 1.5 quarts. And then, depending on the flavor, some have gone down to 1.4 or even 1.3 quarts. The price has not dropped to match that reduction. In most stores right now, a container of Breyers is running between $5 and $7. You are buying significantly less product than you were 4 or 5 years ago, for more money. Industry analysts who track packaged goods pricing have documented this trend across the entire ice cream category. Breyers is not alone, but they were one of the first major brands to make the shift, and they've done it multiple times. I checked the packaging myself 3 times before I believed it. The container is designed to look full. It has that same rounded top, that same color scheme. But the volume number on the side has quietly gone down again and again. If you buy Breyers regularly, go look at the container in your freezer right now. Check the ounces. Then compare it to what you bought 2 years ago if you remember. The difference is real. The practical move here is to buy store-brand ice cream in the full half-gallon size when it goes on sale. You will get more product, often a better price per ounce, and, this surprised me, the quality difference is smaller than most people expect. You are not getting what you used to get from Breyers, and they are counting on you not to notice. Item number 2, Chips Ahoy. This one hit me personally because Chips Ahoy is one of those childhood brands. You have a memory attached to it, and brands know that. That emotional loyalty is exactly what they count on when they make these changes. The standard Chips Ahoy family-size package used to give you a solid 15 to 16 ounces of cookies. In 2025 and into 2026, many of those packages have come down to 13 ounces or even below, depending on the variety and the retailer. It doesn't sound like much. 2 ounces. But 2 ounces of cookies is a meaningful serving. That's several cookies. And if you're buying this every week or every 2 weeks for a family, those missing ounces stack up over a year. The pricing per package has either stayed flat or gone up slightly. The per ounce cost has absolutely gone up. I was looking at this in my own grocery store, and I noticed the shelf tag listed the price, but not the per ounce breakdown that some stores now show. When I calculated it myself, I realized I was paying more per ounce than I ever had for this product. The better move is to look at the store brand cookie options, which have largely held their weight. Or buy the larger club store format when you can, since the per ounce price tends to be more honest at higher volumes. Chips Ahoy is still a fine product, but you are getting less of it than you were, and you're paying the same or more for that privilege. Item number 3. Folgers coffee. Coffee is a product where shrinkflation has been happening for years, but Folgers has been particularly aggressive about it recently, and I think it deserves specific attention. The classic Folgers red canister, the one that used to be a full pound, 32 ounces, went to 30 ounces a few years ago. Then many varieties moved to 27 ounces, and in 2025, some of the mid-tier canisters dropped again. Meanwhile, the price has gone up. Coffee bean costs have fluctuated, and companies use that as cover. But even in periods when bean prices stabilized, the package sizes didn't grow back. That's how this works. They shrink when input costs rise. They don't expand when input costs fall. I looked at this directly. A canister of Folgers Classic Roast that I can find at my local grocery store right now costs more per ounce than it did 3 years ago by a meaningful margin, and the canister is smaller than most people remember. There's a useful mental shift here. Stop looking at the shelf price and start looking at the price per ounce. Almost every major grocery store lists this somewhere on the shelf tag, usually in small print. Train yourself to look at that number first. For coffee specifically, the generic store brand or a warehouse club option often gives you better value per ounce than the name brands that have been quietly shrinking. I made this switch in my own home, and honestly, the morning coffee tastes the same. Your coffee habit is costing you more. Folgers has made sure of that. Item number 4. Gatorade sports drinks feel like they should be immune to this because the bottle is right there. You can see the size. But Gatorade has found ways to do this that are less obvious. The standard Gatorade bottle used to be 32 ounces. It was the iconic size. It moved to 28 ounces in many markets. And on multi-pack deals, the ones that look like the best value, the individual bottles are often 20 ounces or less, making the total volume per pack smaller than it appears at first glance. The pricing on those multi-packs has not gone down proportionally. Consumer tracking data from grocery retail analytics firms shows that the Gatorade category has seen consistent per fluid ounce price increases even when the shelf price appears stable. I noticed this when I was buying a 12-pack for my kids' sports activities. I thought I was getting the same deal I always got. I wasn't. The bottles were smaller than I remembered, and I was buying less total fluid for the same price I'd paid a year before. The honest move here is to look at electrolyte drink powders or tablets. Products like Liquid IV or even just electrolyte powder that you mix yourself give you dramatically more servings per dollar. I started using this and I genuinely can't believe the price difference. Gatorade is counting on habit and brand recognition. Don't let that habit cost you. Item number 5. Charmin Ultra Soft Paper products are where shrinkflation gets almost creative in how hidden it can be. Charmin Ultra Soft is a great example of this. The number on the package says the same thing. 12 rolls or 18 rolls. But what they've been quietly changing is the sheet count per roll, and on top of that, the physical size of each sheet. Charmin's sheets are measurably narrower and shorter than they were several years ago. Each sheet has less square footage of material. Each roll has fewer sheets, and the price per package has gone up. Industry watchdog sites and consumer advocacy groups have tracked this across multiple years and multiple Charmin product lines. The rollout of Mega and Super Mega roll branding has added a layer of confusion that makes direct comparisons even harder. When I stood in the paper aisle trying to figure out which package was actually the best deal, I needed a calculator. That's intentional. When comparison shopping is confusing, most people just grab the familiar brand and move on. The better approach is to look at sheets per roll and sheet size, not package size. Or buy the store brand at Costco or Sam's Club, where the per-sheet cost is significantly lower, and the format hasn't shrunk in the same way. This is toilet paper, the one product you cannot go without. Charmin knows that. They are taking advantage of it. Item number 6. Heinz ketchup. Ketchup feels like a stable category. The red bottle. The Heinz brand. It's been the same for generations, which is exactly why this particular change has flown so far under the radar. Heinz standard ketchup bottles have seen count and weight reductions across several sizes in the past 2 years. The 32-ounce bottle, the classic family fridge bottle, has in some markets quietly moved to 28 or even 26 ounces. The labeling looks nearly identical. They've also been changing the formula slightly in some international markets and testing those changes domestically, which some longtime Heinz users have flagged, saying the taste is subtly different. That's a separate issue, but it's part of the same pattern of quiet change. Retail pricing data tracked through grocery chain apps and coupon aggregators shows that the per-ounce cost of Heinz ketchup has risen meaningfully over the last 3 years, even accounting for general food inflation. I'll be honest, I didn't notice this one myself for a long time. It was only when a friend mentioned it, and I went back and actually compared 2 bottles I'd bought in different years. I'd kept the old one in a photo I'd taken for a grocery haul, that I could see the difference clearly. The store brand ketchup is genuinely very close in taste. This is a case where loyalty to a name brand is costing you money with very little benefit in return. Check the ounces on your Heinz bottle tonight. I think you'll be surprised. Item number 7. Kraft Mac and Cheese. Here it is. This is the one that genuinely surprised me. And I think it's going to land hard for a lot of people because this is the most bought boxed pasta product in America. This is the blue box that has been in American kitchens for generations. The standard box of Kraft macaroni and cheese, the one that feeds a family, the one parents have been making for their kids for decades, has quietly decreased in the amount of pasta included. The box looks the same. The serving count on the back says the same thing, but the ounces of dry pasta have come down. They've also been reformulating the cheese powder in ways that some food bloggers and home cooks have picked up on. A slightly thinner sauce result with the same amount of water and butter. The price of that blue box at Walmart, Kroger, Target, it has gone up substantially over 3 years. The box is slightly lighter. The yield is slightly less satisfying than people remember. I looked this up after my own kids said, completely unprompted, this doesn't taste the same as it used to. Kids notice. They don't have nostalgia clouding their palate. For this one, I'd say buy in bulk when there's a sale and look at the private label versions from Walmart's Great Value line or Aldi's store brand. They are nearly identical in taste to the modern Kraft version, possibly closer to how Kraft used to taste, and they cost meaningfully less. Kraft Mac and Cheese has been part of American family life for so long that we've stopped looking at it critically. That is exactly what they're counting on. Item number 8. Tropicana. Orange juice. Orange juice has had a rough few years from a supply standpoint. Citrus disease and weather events have genuinely hurt orange production in Florida and other growing regions. Companies will tell you that's why prices are up. And there's truth in that. But what Tropicana and other major juice brands have done goes beyond just pricing. The container sizes have changed. The standard 52-ounce Tropicana carton, the one in the orange section of most American refrigerators, has in many markets moved to 46 or 48 ounces. The carton looks almost identical. They've also been expanding their Trop 50 and blended juice lines, which have more water and less actual orange juice content, while marketing them aggressively alongside the original. Retail pricing per ounce for Tropicana has climbed dramatically, and because orange juice feels like a health product, something families feel they need, the purchase continues even as the value erodes. When I checked pricing at my local store, the per-ounce cost of Tropicana was more than 30% higher than it was 3 years ago when you account for the size reduction and the price increase combined. Consider frozen concentrate if you're a regular OJ household. I know it sounds old-fashioned, but the yield per dollar on frozen concentrate is dramatically better, and the taste, mixed properly, is very close. Or look at store-brand 100% orange juice. Many are processed in the same facilities. You are paying more for a smaller container of orange juice, and the company is hoping the orange and sunburst branding feels reassuring enough that you don't do the math. Item number 9. Tide laundry detergent. Laundry detergent is interesting because companies have a built-in defense for shrinkflation, concentration. When they sell you a smaller bottle, they tell you it's more concentrated, that you need less per load, that you're getting the same number of washes. Tide has used this framing for years, and sometimes it's partially true. But the evidence from independent consumer testing suggests the concentration claims don't always match the wash count promises on the label. The 64-ounce Tide bottle used to claim a certain number of loads. The newer versions of that bottle, same price, sometimes higher, have reduced the recommended load count on the back while claiming the formula is the same or better. Reports from retail data analytics firms show that Tide's per-load cost has increased significantly over a 5-year period, even after adjusting for the concentration changes they've announced. I've been tracking this in my own household. I started measuring my detergent exactly according to the Tide Cap guidelines, and I found my bottles were running out faster than the label said they should. Either I was measuring wrong, and I was being precise, or the load count on the label is optimistic. The best value in laundry detergent right now is the Costco Kirkland Ultra Clean Pods, or liquid, which consistently beat name brands in per-load cost, or the Arm & Hammer liquid in the large format at warehouse stores. Tide is a premium product that now charges a premium price while delivering fewer washes per dollar than it did 5 years ago. That's not a deal. That's a habit they're monetizing. Item number 10. Nature Valley granola bars. Granola bars and snack bars are a category where shrinkflation is almost standard industry practice at this point, but Nature Valley stands out because of how they've approached it. The classic Nature Valley Crunchy bar, the 2-bar packet in the crinkly bag, has gotten lighter. The individual bars are measurably thinner than they were 5 years ago. The number of packets per box has stayed the same or gone down depending on the variety, and the price per box has gone up. There's also been a noticeable change in some of the oat clusters and texture that long-term buyers have commented on across consumer review platforms and grocery feedback forums. The bars crumble faster. The texture is slightly different. These are signs of formula changes that companies make when they're reducing ingredient costs. I buy these for hiking and snacking, and I genuinely noticed the bars getting smaller before I looked it up and confirmed it. It was a gradual thing. You don't notice month to month, only when you look back. For granola bars, the store brand versions at Aldi and Trader Joe's consistently offer comparable taste and better value per ounce. Or make your own granola at home. It sounds complicated, but it's genuinely 30 minutes and a fraction of the per-serving cost. Nature Valley built its brand on wholesome outdoor imagery and generous portions. The wholesome imagery remains. The generous portions do not. Item number 11. Del Monte canned vegetables. Canned goods feel like the last safe harbor in grocery shopping. The can is the can. It looks the same. It's been the same for 50 years, except it hasn't been. Del Monte and other major canned vegetable brands have been quietly adjusting net weight in their standard cans. The classic 14.5-ounce can, the number burned into countless recipes, has in many product lines moved to 13 or even 12 ounces. The can exterior looks almost identical. They've also been increasing the liquid content relative to the solid vegetable content in some products. So not only is the total weight slightly lower, but the actual usable vegetable matter is a smaller percentage of what you're buying. Consumer research groups and food journalists who cover grocery pricing have documented this specifically in the canned vegetable category across multiple brands. When I was making a recipe that called for one 14.5-ounce can of diced tomatoes, I went to drain my Del Monte can, and the yield was noticeably less than what the recipe expected. I looked at the can. It said 13 ounces. I hadn't even registered the change at the store. Always check the net weight on canned goods, not just the brand and the label image. And consider store brands, which have often maintained their weights more consistently because they're already competing on price rather than brand loyalty. Your recipes may be coming out differently lately. This might be why. Item number 12. Yoplait yogurt. We'll close with one that touches almost every American household with kids. Yogurt. Specifically Yoplait, which has been the dominant single-serve yogurt brand in American grocery stores for decades. The classic Yoplait original 6-ounce container has been reduced in many product lines to 5.3 ounces. That doesn't sound like much, but it's a 12% reduction in product. If you buy a pack of 8, you are now effectively buying what used to be 7. The price per pack has either stayed flat or increased. Yoplait has also been aggressively marketing their newer lower-calorie and protein-enhanced lines, which have different portion sizes and price points. The original product, the simple fruit-flavored yogurt, has quietly shrunk while the marketing attention has moved to the premium lines. Retail scanning data shows that the average price per ounce of Yoplait Original has increased by over 20% in 3 years, when you factor in both price changes and size reductions combined. I saw this directly when I was packing lunches for my kids. My daughter asked why her yogurt was smaller. I told her it wasn't. Then I checked. It was. The better value right now is buying a larger container of plain or flavored Greek yogurt and portioning it yourself. It costs less per serving, has more protein, and hasn't seen the same shrinkflation. Brands like Chobani and Phage in the large format are genuinely better value per ounce than individual Yoplait cups. Your kids' yogurt cups are getting smaller. Yoplait is hoping they won't say anything. Now look at everything we just went through. Breyers, Chips Ahoy, Folgers, Gatorade, Charmin, Heinz, Kraft, Tropicana, Tide, Nature Valley, Del Monte, Yoplait. These are not random brands. These are the brands that stock American kitchens. The brands that generations of families have been loyal to. The brands you reach for without thinking. And that is the pattern. Every single one of these companies has bet on your habit, your loyalty, and your trust. They are counting on the fact that most people don't weigh their yogurt cups, or measure their ketchup bottles, or calculate price per sheet of toilet paper. This is not a conspiracy. It's a business model. And it's completely legal. But you knowing about it changes the equation. Because now you're not a passive consumer. You're an informed one. And informed consumers make better choices. The goal here is not panic. It's not boycotts. It's simply this. Look at the per unit price, not the shelf price. Compare ounces, not packages. Consider store brands more seriously than you might have a year ago. Buy the warehouse format when it genuinely makes sense. These changes add up. Over a year, an informed grocery shopper can save hundreds of dollars just by making smarter swaps on the categories we talked about today. Most people will not notice these changes until their grocery bill has grown significantly, and they can't figure out why. You already know why. And knowing is the advantage. If this was useful to you, please subscribe. It takes 2 seconds, and it means you won't miss the next video. We cover this kind of content every week. Real consumer trends, pricing patterns, brand changes, and practical strategies that protect your household budget. Nothing sensational. Just honest information from someone who does this research so you don't have to. Leave a comment below and tell me which one surprised you the most. Mine was still Kraft Mac and Cheese. I genuinely did not see that one coming. I'll see you in the next one. Take care of yourself and your wallet.